Was Gucci YouTube? It's your boy Black Chat 3 long face, skinny body, and we back still black with some more fire boys and anime manga content. Now before we get in the video, do me a favor, like, comment, subscribe, smash the like button, share the video with your friends, and go ahead and subscribe as well. And let's get right into the business. Yes, sir. Okay, so we got Boruto versus Kawaki, the battle of Karmasu's. Those of y'all who are just tuning in, starting with this video yesterday, I released my first Boruto versus Kawaki video, basically talking about the ideals, or really just the stance and the positions that each character will be taking upon that inevitable battle that we see in chapter 1 and episode 1 of the anime and manga, based off the current developments we've had all the way up until the point of chapter 67, and how those decisions and ultimate choices trickle into the inevitable beginning of Boruto's story that we see before he starts telling the story of how it's come to be. Talking about the Karmasu's with these two motherfuckers, now we're past the point of wondering, okay, how did Kawaki get his Karmasu back after watching Kawaki lose his Karmasu? Is Ishiki taking control of Kawaki in that first scene? Now, has Momoshiki probably destroyed the village through Boruto's body? How is Boruto still able to have the Karmasu if he was at 80% and he got to 80% so quickly, yet we see him at 16 years old and somehow he looks fine? We have all of those questions answered, and we understand, okay, Kawaki, in a sense, he has this 80% Otsutsuki body thanks to the reconstruction of his arm by Amato. Amato gave him a weaponized karma, basically without the soul of Ishiki dwelling inside of the karma. Boruto's case, he has his full karma powers, everything that has happened, but Momoshiki managed to take away the ability for him to revive himself through Boruto's body in order to save not only Boruto's life, but in order to have his soul still linger onto the ward, being anchored and attached to Boruto's body and Boruto's soul. Kind of like a merger, I guess you would say. But a lot of weird shit going on with both of these niggas' Karmasu's. Now, at the start, not even at the start, let's just give it like a year ago, like 10, 12 chapters ago, I'm pretty sure a lot of us probably were under the assumption that somehow Boruto found a way to slow down Momoshiki's progression for good, in a way without obviously having his death be incorporated into that matter, seeing how everything has already played out, and that somehow maybe Kawaki is probably being manipulated or taken over. Now, the manipulation part will still kind of have some fruition to it, whether it's Amato playing the cards, ultimately still, and it will technically be he was manipulating Boruto too, because if everything's going according to Amato's plan, everybody is playing and acting accordingly to how he set up and predicted. Now, we understand both of the differences between both of these niggas' Karmasu's. By the time they're facing off, I ain't gonna cap, these niggas, I say Boruto's 16, Kawaki's probably 17 going on 18 at this point in time in the time skip. These niggas are crazy powerful. Now, there's one or two things that's happening in the start. Now, we do know for a fact, I believe it was Kodachi or Kishimoto that said there was going to be certain changes that's going on with Boruto's character design once we actually get to that point that we've seen in the first episode and first chapter. Not necessarily that point, but mainly just talking about Boruto's character, 16-year-old character at that point. Probably small tweaks to his character, maybe how his character looks. I don't believe anything crazy drastic, probably some clothes changes. Now, when it comes to Kawaki, I was going to say it's one of two things. Either they thought it up and it came eventually and was built into the story, or they just didn't want to spoil it for us off the rip. And I wouldn't be surprised if either way was the go, but they did not show Kawaki's Dharma eye, or however you want to call it, the eye that Ishiki has in the flash forward scene. So it makes me to believe, okay, so did they probably write it in? Maybe they needed some type of balance to where they realized, okay, once Boruto awakens this Jogan, it's gonna be a whole nother level to where, like, it don't even matter if Kawaki has a stage 2 with the horn, like, this shit is just not gonna be leveled up. And it would make sense to give Kawaki all of these abilities. The last two chapters, we've seen him summoning these cubes, we've seen him shrinking things, and we've seen him shooting out these chakras. The exact same things we've been seeing Jigen do, in the extent that in the anime now, we did see Jigen was about to summon a cube. That was when Kawaki stopped him at Naruto's house, and right before Jigen took Naruto to the separate dimension. I believe that jutsu, he was about to summon at least one cube. So in Jigen's form, Ishiki took a little bit more, not only chakra, but time and effort in order to summon those cubes, whereas Kawaki as a result of being a perfect vessel. Not only does he have the eye, but the pupils change according to the powers used, whether he's using Daikoten, summoning the cubes from a different dimension, or Sukuna Hakona, shrinking himself and shrinking all of these other objects. Kawaki was first introduced, it was off rip, this nigga stronger than Boruto. Through certain developments and occasions that's going on through the story, especially after the loss of his Karma Seal, there was the speculations, okay, Kawaki might be, and you already know who, like, Sarada's my favorite character in the fucking show, like, hands down, so this is nothing, like, but he was probably on Sarada's level, or maybe, you know what I'm saying, people were scaling Kawaki towards Sarada at that point in time. Now it's understandable that it's really difficult right now for Sarada to be creeping or touching on Boruto version 2, Karma Seal power, Curse Mode Misaki and shit like that, and even figuring out where Curse Mode Mikasa lies within all of this. However, Boruto version 2 and Kawaki, Karma Seal, all those powers, it was like, all right, come on, you know, past 3, talking about Sharingan Sarada, like, that's a little bit believable. With version 1, probably Boruto Karma Seal, but past that, it's like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? So niggas was scaling Kawaki down after the loss of his Karma Seal. It was initially thought that, okay, maybe Kawaki's Karma Seal is naturally stronger than Boruto's because he's better with the Karma Seal, he's had the Karma Seal more longer, but you see how fast Boruto was able to creep up with power in terms of catching up to Kawaki ever since Kawaki's introduction into the story. And all of a sudden now we have Boruto being able to spar with Kawaki when they both have their Karma Seals match, when we see them fighting against figures like Boro and shit like that. You see how they both utilize their Karma Seal and one needing the other in order to get the ultimate advantage in the fight. Like, damn, Boruto got maybe possibly a more authentic Karma Seal. Maybe he's just naturally catching up. We understand the resonance that was happening between the two, but then we get to when Kawaki loses his Karma Seal, and then we have that little sparring match between both Boruto and Kawaki. Now, and since, yes, Boruto did win, Boruto had the Karma Seal activated version 1 Karma Seal, Kawaki was still able to react, look at his blocks, you know what I'm saying, read his attacks. Kawaki mentally messed up, mentally lost the fight because he naturally tried to absorb one of Boruto's attack, thinking he still had the Karma Seal. So it can also be looked at as like a possible mental nerf on the Kawaki sense. So if we look at just their powers and base, most people will probably give Kawaki a slight edge in terms of force or power, and probably give Boruto a slight edge in terms of skill, whereas they're both kind of a natural in their own right. Boruto is more witty, more of a skillful fighter. Kawaki is more of an adaptable fighter and forcible fighter, meaning like he's gonna go at you the way that he's choosing to go at you, but if he have to change or adjust midway, there's no problem with doing that. Whereas Boruto, he's gonna already try to figure out a way to defeat you while he's going at you. Kawaki is just, yeah, let's get it. Now, understanding everything that they could do each with their Karma Seal, we know if they give Boruto the same treatment that they gave Kawaki, Kawaki's able to use all of these abilities that we've seen Ishiki use, and it hasn't even been to the full extent. So once he's able to have all of those 8 triangles or 8 wheels inside of his eye, we've seen at the most he's had up to 4 triangles since opening this new Karma Seal, but he's been able to use damn near all of the moves that Ishiki's used. He's shrunk himself already. He's been summoning the chakra rods, and he's summoning the cubes. So that's both Sukuna Hakana and Daikoten, and then he's using the chakra rods as well. So he has all of Ishiki's abilities, especially when we've seen him being revived through Jigen's body, mollywopping, stomping these niggas Naruto and Sasuke. In terms of Boruto, it's like absorbing chakra. At first you would think that's probably like a Momoshiki thing, which is why it came with his Karma Seal, but it appears obviously all Karma Seals has the ability to absorb chakra. What came specially with Momoshiki's Rinnegan was the fact that he can reflect that shit twice as powerful, not just the chakra, but the jutsu itself. Now, that can be something that we can see probably be handy in Boruto's case, but also they will be able to be careful with that because we've seen in the anime version, now it wasn't in the manga, but in anime version, this nigga Ishiki was able to shrink away Kashin Koji's flames and all of that shit. When he used the real flames from the mountains, he was able to shrink them and store them away using Daikoten. He pulled those same flames back out when he was fighting Baryon mode Naruto, and as like a last resort, and he shot a big ass blast. Now it wasn't twice as powerful, but it was at the very least just as strong. So in a sense, Kawaki can somehow do some similar ability to that, but still, Momoshiki's Rinnegan abilities, and then the main key here would just possibly be the Jogan. Other than having Boruto have the ability to being able to absorb ninjutsu. If he can reflect it back and have these powers of the Jogan, that might be a little too OP. With Kawaki, yes, he can shrink all of this stuff, but when you think about it, it's like the pure eye. Boruto can already open all of these dimensions, be it not just his karma seal, but also it will be via his eyes. And not only that, he's 100% Otsutsuki, so you have to take into account his chakra reserves, the amount of damage his body is able to take, now how durable he has become with his new Otsutsuki body. All of these adjustments, Boruto will be able to perform more extravagant and high tier jutsu using less chakra, and probably even have a better sense of chakra control in a way, because the Otsutsuki are prognosers of everything shinobi related on the shinobi world. So essentially, Boruto is walking around, he's literally 100% an OG. Nigga, Kawaki's like an 80% OG. His karma seal, and then I'm talking about the karma seals, and I'm going to both include both Kawaki's eye and Boruto's Jogan in this sense, because like when they're facing off, Boruto's already activating his Jogan, so he's off rip, like yeah, he's ready with it. Now you can see, because of Kawaki's reaction, this isn't his first time seeing his eye at this point in time, so this probably most likely either A, not their first fight, or they have been fighting together long enough to where there's going to be a point in time where Boruto awakens his eye while Kawaki and him are still going to be living in the village together. It's going to be one of those two cases. Kawaki was not surprised to see Boruto's dojutsu activated. Kawaki didn't activate his dojutsu, they just went right at it, and it looks like at the start of the fight is going to be kind of like, you know, we just testing the waters here, nothing too crazy out of the ordinary. I want to give the slight edge to Boruto's karma seal slightly, because the developments, I ain't gonna hold you, they've been taking their time with focusing each on, all right, we're gonna take these next few chapters to focus heavily on Kawaki, the situations around Kawaki, his karma seal. Now we're gonna take this time to focus on Boruto, the situations around Boruto, his karma seal. And there's been developments, and their developments around their each respective karma seal has been growing at their own pace. And Kawaki obviously has had the karma seal longer than Boruto, whereas Boruto has had a more authentic way of attaining the karma seal and being a more authentic and natural vessel, having already inherited naturally the powers of the Otsutsuki clan. So naturally, I would think, yes, Boruto's karma seal is going to be stronger. Naturally, I would think, yes, we are going to see Kawaki activate his eye in that future scene. I feel like they were just waiting, holding it off for us, with a slight chance of them just adding it in some point in the story. Like, let's just give Kawaki this nigga Ishiki's eye, in a sense, right? Will they give Boruto's karma seal, will they allow his karma seal the ability to awaken Momoshiki's Rinnegan? It will be OP, but at this point, it's like you can't cheat one and be favorable to the other. I understand, like, they both gonna have these crazy eyes that we haven't seen, so it already balances that out. Regardless, if Boruto's eye is most likely the Jogan being the prognoser of all the eyes, we still haven't seen the eye that we see Kawaki with, other than this nigga Ishiki using it, and it has pretty simple abilities, but them shits are very handy dandy. Maybe Boruto's eye is gonna be like a crazy overkill, to where Boruto's karma seal might not be anything other than him being able to absorb ninjutsu and just having that extra power and speed boost, and then the millennia of experience that he can gain from Momoshiki and all of that stuff. If he can tap into Momoshiki's powers, rather than seeing him being able to reflect jutsu twice as strong, I want to see him be able to create probably chakra weapons that we see infused Momoshiki be able to do. Initially, it was Kenshiki's ability, but it's something that we seen Momoshiki naturally was able to do as soon as he was able to fuse. So I want to see Boruto, and it don't even have to be the red chakra. It's most likely going to be akin to his chakra color. So probably Boruto pulling out some blue chakra weapons. I don't know, chains, just axes or different shit. It do something. They've been blessing this man Kawaki's karma seal, and then by the time they're facing off, it's like, well, shit. When you think about it, 16-year-old Kawaki is gonna have the ability to, yes, the full strength and speed and durability of his karma seal, but now he's shrinking things, he can store things, he can shrink himself, and he can summon these Qs that has chakra sensing blocking abilities. Not only that, he's like ultimately like stronger, especially with the horn. Now, do Boruto even have a horn form? It's just so many questions around Boruto's karma powers at this point in general, because it's like they've been playing so much around that narrative that they eventually accidentally made this nigga so strong to the point where even weakening him down and taking away, like, it's questioning, is he gonna be able to reflect jutsu back like Momoshiki? Can he create weapons like Momoshiki? You feel me? And shit like that. All of these powers that we don't even know he has, we're still putting him on a level where we seen this nigga Kawaki just demolish this man cold. And Momoshiki taking over Boruto's body, showing that Boruto can access that level of power even without those specific abilities I've already mentioned. Don't forget, you know, I've Rasengan bullet and shit like that. Momoshiki done took Boruto's arsenal, made it his own. So I want to see Boruto, you know, fuck it, reverse Uno card and do the same thing. But the Battle of Karma is going to be something very exciting to be looking forward towards. All in all, just in general, I just can't wait till we get into time skip territory. But leave me your thoughts below. What do y'all feel about the developments of the Boruto versus Kawaki battle that we see at the start of the series and the developments around the Karma Seals? Until my next video, it's your boy Black out there, long face, skinny body. Holla at your boy, I'm holla at y'all, like y'all. Yes, sir.
Hey, can we take a trip to the sky? Show them that our limit's too high. Cocoa butter hips on the west side. She said